Today on Time About the Movies, we begin the second half of 2012's movie roster, and we begin with Andrew Garfield taking on the mantle of Peter Parker in the new reboot of Spider-Man, in The Amazing Spider-Man. We also have Oliver Stone back on the big screen with another star-studded film in Savages. Let's just say it's not going to turn out very well for him. But we also have, surprisingly, the best movie of the entire week, and that's the documentary Katy Perry, Part of Me. So 4th of July weekend 2012, this is Time About the Movies. Let's go. And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the three films that make up July 5th, 2012. July 6th, 2012. And we start off with the biggest of the new releases, and that is, of course, The Amazing Spider-Man, which is a reboot of the Spider-Man franchise, portraying the character's origin story and his development into a superhero while still a high school student. It stars Andrew Garfield in the title role of Spider-Man and Peter Parker, Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, Reese Ifans as Dr. Kirk Connors, and also Martin Sheen, and Sally Field playing Peter's Uncle Ben and Aunt May. And I'll be perfectly honest, the trailers really were not selling me on this movie when this was coming out. And the only thing that really got me excited was seeing the 6-minute preview that was in front of Men in Black. And, I mean, I felt like they were going in the right direction with it. And I thought maybe this could possibly work out. And, truth be told, I really do not like these movies. I mean, I mean, look, I know I'm going to get flack for saying this, but these, to me, are the worst of the Spider-Man movies, the two Amazing Spider-Man movies. Not for the reasons you think I'm going to say they are, but, I mean, let's just get to why I don't like these movies. I'll start off with some of the things I really don't like about it. For the one thing, it's essentially just a remake of the first Spider-Man movie, except we've got different villains. Instead of the Green Goblin, we've got Kirk Connors now, who becomes the Lizard. You know, the Stacys are brought into the storyline here. There's no Mary Jane here. I mean, other than that, it's pretty much the same thing as the first film. Why not just start with the positives, sir? Because I will say that there are things I did like about the movie. For starters, the casting is great. The cast is the best thing about this movie. Andrew Garfield, I thought, did a very good job as Peter Parker. He's back to being the wisecracking Spider-Man in the comic books, and, you know, something that Tom Holland would eventually perfect with the next set of reboots. But I also like the chemistry between him and Gwen Stacy. I really like Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy a lot. And a lot of what I saw in that 6-minute preview was their relationship. You know, it's a scene where I think they're like in a high school locker, like in the high school hallway with his Uncle Ben, and they're having a conversation. It's just like, if the movie had more of that, then I could really enjoy this film. I like the fact that she does more. I like her more than Mary Jane Watson, honestly. And I like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, but Gwen Stacy actually did more to help Peter in this than Mary Jane did in the first three movies. Mary Jane was kind of like the damsel in distress. Gwen Stacy's actually doing something in this movie. Like, I like the fact that they gave her more to do in this than Mary Jane did in the other Spider-Man films. You know, you got Dennis Leary playing her father, the head of police, which I thought was really cool. It was really cool to see Dennis Leary in a very different role than we're used to seeing him in. And Martin Sheen and Sally Field, it's Martin Sheen and Sally Field. These guys can never do any wrong, even in bad movies. I mean, Sally Field's a 2-time Academy Award winner, for God's sakes, but the special effects were pretty cool. I like the Brooklyn Bridge scene where Spider-Man saves the cars from going over and saves the kid from the car that catches on fire. It's a really good effects job overall. Of course, the great scene in the movie is where you have Stan Lee's cameo where he's listening to headphones in the library and you see Spider-Man and the Lizard beating the crap out of each other in slow motion with the music in the background. That's great. That's fun stuff right there. The runtime, while it is long, doesn't really bother me all that much. For 2 hours and 16 minutes, it's not that bad overall. The pacing overall isn't that bad. The music overall is really good. You got James Horner. I mean, James Horner is one of the best composers ever. I mean, it's nowhere near the greatness of Danny Elfman's Spider-Man, but, you know, Horner still has those chops to make a damn good soundtrack, even after all these years. So it seems like I really enjoyed the movie, but let's talk about the bad things in general. For one thing, I really didn't like Rhys Ifans as the villain. I like Rhys Ifans. I think he could play a very good villain, but he's just playing a stereotypical villain in here. I mean, while he does look pretty cool as the Lizard, he really doesn't have an evil plan just to turn everybody into lizards. It's just like, that's really the best you can do. And like I said, he's a great actor overall, but I'm glad to see that most of the characters in this actually got a better reintroduction with No Way Home, but we're still 9 years down the road for that. Another thing I didn't like about the movie was that they were promoting the fact that this was going to reveal all these secrets about Spider-Man that we never really knew. When they get revealed, you realize the big secrets that we already knew about the films, TV, or things that we already knew from the films, TV shows, and comic books. There's really no secrets that are huge, except the fact that, we do get that Peter's getting bitten by the spider may have not been an accident. Maybe that was supposed to happen. And for a movie that promises us the untold secrets of Spider-Man, I really didn't think they did the best job overall with it. I also didn't like how they resulted to killing off one of the characters way too early. One of the characters dies early in the film, and while he's seen a lot in the film, we really don't get to know him all that much. If there had been some more character development with him, I could have brought it into this, but it would have been more upset when he passes away. But he just kind of feels like they kill him off way too quickly. And this movie is really trying way too hard to copy Christopher Nolan and Batman. I mean, there were points in this movie where they were literally stealing from Batman Begins. You want to do something similar to Batman Begins, that's fine. Star Trek made that work a couple years ago. But when you're literally stealing plot points from that movie, that's where I draw the line. I mean, you could do this without stealing a ton of stuff from a more successful reboot. It's just kind of like, do something new with it. Do something different. Give us a reason why you're rebooting this, instead of the fact that you're petty because Sam Raimi wouldn't bend the knee and kiss your ass to make the Spider-Man movie that you wanted him to make, instead of letting him do the movie he wants to make after he made 3 successful movies for you. Like, that's the only reason this reboot even exists, because Sam Raimi refused to do the Spider-Man 4 movie that they wanted him to do. So Sam Raimi basically said, fuck this shit, I'm out, and so now we got this movie. That's the only reason this even exists. I mean, Mark Webb is a great director, but he can't do action very well. He's a great director, but when he does the action sequences for this movie, it does not work well at all. Like, he has that same problem that Mark Forster had when he took on Quantum of Solace in 2008. Like, he didn't really have much experience directing an action sequence, and the action sequences in Quantum of Solace falter because of that, as they do in here in The Amazing Spider-Man. It's part of my big problem with, taking small directors who direct like independent movies or much smaller movies, and then telling them, hey, guess what, you're going to come in and do this big blockbuster when we clearly not have any work for you, is when we clearly know you've never done this before, but we know you're going to make it work, pal. No, you can't do that. Like, we're seeing that way too often nowadays. We just had that last year with Twisters. They brought in the director of Minari, who never directed a blockbuster before, and that film fell apart pretty quickly. We just had Mark Webb had another movie this year that some people didn't think was all that great, Snow White, which I'm not going to say that. I don't think it was bad, but it certainly pales in comparison to something like 500 Days of Summer, which is still his epic masterpiece. But the biggest problem with this movie, as I said before, is that 85% of this movie is just a remake of the first movie. It's Peter in high school. He's getting bullied. He's getting bitten by the spider. He's testing out his powers. Uncle Ben gets killed. Peter tells Gwen, originally Mary Jane, that they can't be together at the end. It's the same movie all over again with only 15% new footage. And that's just like, I know you have to do the origin story over again, but you could have found ways to create something new with it, shake things up a little bit, give us something that we've never seen before. But no, they took the easy way out. At least with Spider-Man Homecoming and when they brought Tom Holland into the fold with Captain America Civil War, he was already Spider-Man. We didn't need an origin story of how he came to... We didn't need an origin story of how he came to be. The story was already set up. We already know the story by this point. That's why they didn't do it in the Spider-Verse movies either, because everyone knows how Spider-Man came to be. They literally say in the movie, okay, let's get through this pretty quickly, because they're just summing it up for you so we can get to the stuff we want to see. In this movie, it really makes you think that the studio thinks you're that stupid that you can't remember a movie that came out 10 years ago. Like, if you can't figure out what happened in the first Spider-Man movie and know how Spider-Man came to be, then you clearly have been living under a rock since then, which, It makes no sense whatsoever, and I was really let down by this movie. I wanted it to be good. I wanted those trailers that I saw to prove me wrong and give me a good movie. I thought that preview that I saw in Men in Black 3 gave me hope of what this could really be, but it just ends up being a bland, mediocre Spider-Man movie that should have been way better considering everyone's on board. The cast is doing the best they can with the material given to them. The special effects were good, the score was really good, the runtime was great. The movie had more bad things in it than good things, but let me tell you, it's certainly a hell of a lot better than Amazing Spider-Man 2, but we won't have to wait that long, because that's coming 2 years from now, and let me tell you something. As much as I don't like Amazing Spider-Man, it's like Spider-Man 1 compared to what the hell they were doing with the second film. That abomination is something that we'll delve into very much greatly when we get to the summer of 2014, but... speaking of garbage, here's our next movie that is very much the same as The Amazing Spider-Man. High potential, but steaming pile of crap at the end. Oliver Stone's Savages.
You guys have a clean business. Now the cartels are moving north.
If you want to control a man, take what they love most.
I'm gonna get you out, I promise.
7 of my men dead?
Don't mess with these people.
You stabbed a federal agent!
Savages. Rated R.
God damn, Taylor Kitsch had a terrible 2012. I mean, you know, Battleship, John Carter, and now this. And this one is easily the... Actually, I take that back. Battleship is still pretty bad, but this is a close second. This movie is very high up there with the worst movies I've seen in 2012. I hated the hell out of this movie. You have Aaron Taylor Johnson as a University of California, Berkeley graduate and a former U.S. Navy SEAL played by Taylor Kitsch, who are top weed growers. Their product is the best in the business, and brand provides the brain and Sean the brawn as they run their operations successfully and relatively peacefully. They also share a girlfriend played by Blake Lively, and the three-way relationship works well. One day they are approached by representatives of Elena Sanchez, played by Salma Hayek, of the Baja Cartel. She wants to go into business with them. Ben and Sean do not want to be involved with the cartel, so Elena sends her henchman Lato, played by Benicio del Toro, to kidnap Ophelia. Following the kidnap, the duo work with a corrupt DEA agent, played by John Travolta, to fight back against the cartel and rescue Ophelia. And again, like with The Amazing Spider-Man, the trailers were horrible, and the film was way too much like something we've already seen done in many other movies of this type. Scarface, Bad Boys 2. But I kept my hope alive because it's Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone has more hidden misses at that point in time. He was on kind of a little bit of a lull with Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, but here's his movie to really show that that was just a fluke, and, you know, he's going to get back on track with this movie. And, you know, Taylor Kitsch is not a bad actor. I mean, he just needs better film choices, but, you know, I should also say that I saw this the same day I saw The Amazing Spider-Man. I was hoping that, you know, after watching how disappointed The Amazing Spider-Man was, I thought this was going to be the saving grace of the day. Nothing bad could go wrong with this movie. And wouldn't you know it, it was really, really bad. I absolutely hated this movie from the get-go. This is a movie that you could predict right as soon as it begins. Within 15 minutes, you knew what cliches they were going to go with. You knew who was going to get killed first. You knew who wasn't going to get killed. You knew what the big twist of the movie was going to be. I knew every single fucking thing about this movie 15 minutes in. This is a movie that's over 2 hours long. So, the fact that I already knew what was going to happen before we even got to the half-hour mark, and there's still 2 hours of film to go, oh, fuck you. Like, this movie, where do you even begin with how bad this is? First off, the love triangle makes no sense whatsoever. There's no way there could be a successful story where the girl gets two guys and the two girls don't fight over her. That's bullshit point number one. Bullshit point number two, Salma Hayek is the main villain. I'm sorry, but you can't convince me that she's the leader of a drug cartel. I mean, yeah, she could do villainous roles, but I'm sorry. This is a prime example of what happens when I say that most females cannot play villain roles very well, because this is example number one of how not to play a villain role. This movie is way too much for Salma Hayek. They miscast her big time in this. Bullshit point number three, Blake Lively's narration is so overblown, and like this movie, every single thing said has already been said in other movies. Plus, I hate that line from you know, just because I'm telling the story doesn't mean I'm alive at the end. It's that kind of story. Well, it's just like, thank you for spoiling the movie at the very beginning, but like I said, I already figured out where you were going to go with it 15 fucking minutes in. And the biggest problem with this movie, as I said, everything has been done before in other movies. This movie is not clever whatsoever. This movie isn't slick. This isn't trying to be anything engaging or new. No, they have all these hot young actors with a couple of seasoned vets in there, and they're hoping that that's going to be the thing that's going to push people into the seats. And sadly, that did not happen at all. This thing crashed and burned big time. And for Oliver Stone, this was really the point of no return for him, because you know what happened to him. I mean, he made all these great movies. Platoon, JFK, Natural Born Killers, Any Given Sunday, World Trade Center, W. And then after that, it's just kind of like his career just came crashing down. Like, my God, what happened to you, dude? Like, I mean, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps was bad, but this is worse. This is ungodly awful. Like, the trailers at least were promising you something that you're not going to like, and sure enough, I didn't like this. This movie has nothing of value to it. The acting is so mediocre, the villains are stupid, the story is terrible, you can predict everything that's going to happen in the first 15 minutes. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible movie. Have you got the point? Savages is fucking terrible, plain and simple. So after all of this negativity we've had today, let's end the show on a much more positive note, because who would have guessed that a weekend that includes a new Spider-Man movie and a new film by Oliver Stone, it's Katy Perry Part of Me that's the winner of the week.
What happens when your daughter's on her TV? You're not going to watch if you got half your clothes off.
She ain't gonna have half her clothes off.
Too much? Okay, go. This is my journey. The highs and lows. Where's my marbles? I've made mistakes, but I don't regret anything.
Katy Perry, Part of Me, in theaters July 5th.
Yeah, believe it or not, this actually was probably the best overall movie I saw this week, and it was really a big surprise in general because, I mean, it gave you more than you were expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be just another Justin Bieber Never Say Never, but no, it's much more than that. It tells the story of Katy Perry's career as a gospel singer that started off in 2004, in the early 2000s, until the present day, where she's become a pop singer and global superstar, and bearing testimony from her about her childhood, talking about the teenage dream era that was going on around that time, and scenes from backstage of her last world tour, while taking the time to resolve personal problems, including her divorce from British comedian Russell Brand at the time. And like I said, and music documentaries overall have been hit and miss. Michael Jackson's is easily the best ones we've gotten up to this point. The Madonna and Rolling Stones ones were really good. The two U2 concert movies are alright. The Justin Bieber movie was not terrible, but still really did not need to exist. But, you know, this one in particular I thought worked a whole lot better than the Justin Bieber one, mostly because you're getting more than you expected. Most people who are fans of Katy Perry, I don't think really knew that she was originally a gospel singer at first. Kind of the same thing with Nelly Furtado. No one realized that, you know, she began her career as a Christian singer and then wanted to become the pop star that she did in the 2000s. And, you know, this movie overall, it's a fun movie. It's not a classic by any means necessary. There's nothing really that spectacular about it, but it's a movie that is strictly for fans of Katy Perry's music, which I like Katy Perry's music. I think one of the more intriguing aspects of the movie is that you get a backstory of how she went from playing Christian music to becoming, you know, this woman who literally has a music video where she's taking Ready Whip cans, placing her on her boobs and squirting out whipped cream at people in music videos. Like, how the hell does that happen? Like, you know, finding out how that transition went really took me by surprise. They basically said that she moved out of Hollywood, changed her music abilities around in a matter of years, and boom, there she is again. Like I also like that we got to see her in real life. She does seem like a person that, if I were friends with her, I could easily buy into it. Like I mean, this is somebody I kind of would like to hang out with overall. I mean, the best thing about the documentary is that it's not afraid to show Perry at her worst. I mean, this is right when she was breaking up with Russell Brand. You do feel sorry for her, and you're amazed at the fact that even after this huge breakup, she goes to Brazil and plays this large concert the same night. Like, that's true professionalism for your craft overall, that you can still do this, even if you're going through the most tragic thing possible and a major divorce like this. Like, this movie overall works. I think the overall biggest flaw of the film is that it probably doesn't need to be in theaters overall. This is a movie released by Paramount on the big screen. You know, it was made for 3D, which, when you really look at it, there's nothing about it that says, this needed to be in 3D. I mean, honestly, I saw this on a 2D screen. It really didn't. There was nothing that I saw from it really that made me say, yeah, this deserved to be seen on a 3D screen. Just like, no. Like, if you watch this on MTV or VH1, I think it's something that would work better. Hell, on Paramount Plus, it would probably work better as a documentary on there. Like, there's no real reason to go see this on the big screen at all. Unless you haven't been to a Katy Perry concert and you want to see her songs on the screen. So, I guess on that front, that works out. But overall, it works because it works if you're fans of her music. You know, it works because, you know, you get to see the documentary here. You get to know a little bit of a backstory you didn't know about her. There's nothing really bad about the movie except the fact that it doesn't need to be released in theaters. If you saw this on DVD or TV, I think it would be overall worth it. But, yeah, it's a good movie overall. I mean, like I said, not worth it for the big screen, but that doesn't take away from the overall enjoyment of the film. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, who would have guessed that this would be the best overall film in a week, in a weekend that has a Spider-Man movie and an Oliver Stone movie? I mean, I don't even know why we're saying any given Sunday, because this isn't a football metaphor, but it's just like, but yeah, strange things overall. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we only got one movie, and which was a better movie, but sadly, it's the movie that killed the Ice Age franchise for me. Ice Age Continental Drift. But at least there was one good thing that came out of it. The Simpsons short, The Longest Daycare. But yeah, we got to do a whole show about Continental Drift, so not looking forward to that one. But at least it gets better the week after that, because we got The Dark Knight Rises, and we can go into long detail about that one. But we'll do that tomorrow on the show. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the last episode we did. And don't forget, we got a new Time About the Movies flashback coming up later tonight, so stay tuned for that. But until then, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.